Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Hello, Hauntlings. My name is Alyssa.
And I'm Lindsay.
We're Macab at Midnight, minus the RE.
Join us every week as we discuss and rate anything that fits on our scale of screams.
We like to talk about creepy things, and we want to share them with you. Sometimes it's the paranormal.
Like ghosts or aliens or a cryptid or two.
Sometimes it's just a twisted turn in history. True crime, fact or fiction, the works.
Nope, don't like that.
So if you're a prideful weirdo like us, and you're interested in things that tend to be a little macabre,
This time with the RE.
then check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we will see you in,
In
your
your
nightmares.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Hey, what's up, you guys?
I'm Kathryn,
And I'm Hayley,
and we are Saturdays for the Ghouls.
a Podmoth podcast.
How you doing, Hayley? Loaded question, I know.
I'm fine. We're
She
fine.
says really high-pitched voice. Fine.
I'm great.
I'm great. Really believable. I think you did great on that one.
Oh, thanks.
If anybody who knows you listen to that, they will totally believe you.
Yeah, they fucking better. How are you, Kathryn?
Living the dream. Living the fucking dream. I'm doing great.
Oh, she loves me, guys. It's fine. She definitely doesn't hate me.
I don't hate you. Absolutely don't hate you. And I do love you.
Yeah.
But you're not a great multitasker. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna beat around the bush and lie to you here. You're not a great multitasker.
I know.
I feel like sometimes you think you are, but
I'm really
That's okay.
not.
that's okay. Not everyone can be good at everything. You're good at other things that aren't multitasking. Like being my best friend.
Oh, that's true.
It's a full-time job. You have to listen to the same thing over and over again. It's crazy.
It's okay. Okay.
So it's
All right.
Haley's week this week. Hayley, what are you bringing us?
We're going to talk about some foods before you die. Some last meals.
I wonder if I left that part in when I edited out that last episode when we talked about it. I think we mentioned this topic sometime in one of our episodes recently, and Haley was like, "That seems like an interesting episode," but then I think maybe I edited it out. So if I didn't, some of you got a sneak peek if you listened to the other episode. You're
Fair.
welcome.
Also, fun fact, a little behind the scenes. I was at trivia,
Mhm.
and I like to have a table, and there's very limited tables. It's first come, first serve. So I get there a little early sometimes. I got there like almost 2 hours early. So I was like, I'll just do some research. So I started doing research at trivia, and slowly my friends, my regular peeps that go to trivia, they start coming up to me, "Hey girl, how you doing?" Hug me, whatever. As I'm literally writing it says death row, last meals, and then I'm just like writing things, and they're looking at my phone with all these like murderers on my phone, and they're like, "What you doing? A little late reading there?"
I know whenever I'm doing any kind of like weird research for the podcast, I'm always like, if someone walked in and saw this on my computer, or if I was sharing my screen and someone saw this research on my computer, they'd think I'm fucking mental. Like we talked about that, I think, in the execution ones or the torture methods. If someone saw you researching different medieval
Oh,
torture methods, that's just so crazy.
okay, it's because I was at I was at my fiance's dad's house, and you were like,
Oh yeah.
I need your resources. And I was like, I'm not looking up torture devices right now. When I'm sitting in the middle of the room around my Brady Bunch family.
Funny thing is, though, one of the most talked about episodes among me and my friends is the execution methods one. I've told them a lot of the execution methods that you told me.
Oh.
Basically, they don't have to listen to that episode because I told it to them, the whole thing.
Oh, I'm so glad that's the one that's stuck in your brain.
I was like, there's this one where they shove you full of milk and honey, so you shit yourself.
They're like, oh, okay. All right, Kathryn.
And then I was like, and then there's this other one where they put you in leather sack with a dog, a cat, a snake, and a chicken, and throw you in the water. They all okay. So the important people were like, who were actually listening to me, they were like, "What did those animals ever do?" And I was like, "That's what I said."
That's what I said too. I was like, why would they, how do they pick them? They just,
But anyway, we're talking about food today. I'm hungry. So we're talking about food today. Last
yes.
meals. How many last meals are we talking about?
1, 2, 3, 4. I have 7.
Okay.
But
And today, hold on a minute. Today is July, the 7th month. 7th. Today is the 77 portal, or 77 portal. And you have 7 things.
okay, now I don't feel as bad for doing 7. As I'm like going through these, I was like, they're all the same, or there wasn't any interesting ones, and I was like, okay, I have some interesting ones where it's like, what the fuck, like why? But
Did you just document who they are and what their meal was, or did you also document what they were in prison for, or what their life sentence was for? I'll be surprised.
you'll find out in a minute. But yes, okay. So let's jump in, shall we? So, what is a last meal? Is exactly what it sounds like, right?
A meal you eat at the right before you die.
Yes. It is, I quote, a meal a prisoner awaiting execution requests, usually a day or two before execution. Alcohol and tobacco are usually not permitted. And there are some states that have, what's the word, like a budget or like a
Oh,
amount that they can,
up
like how
to
much
a
money.
maximum. Yeah.
Yeah. So Florida, you can only get locally, like local foods, and it has to be less than $40. Oklahoma's 25.
That's not that much.
I know. I was like, oh wow, okay. In Louisiana, the prison warden will join you for your last meal, typically.
I don't think I
Um,
want to talk to him.
I know. I was like,
It's gonna be awkward while I eat my lobster tail.
And then good old Texas, they started special requests in 1924, and they stopped in September 2011. I'll explain later. That's one of my guys. All right. So first guy we're going to talk about is Robert Alton Harris. He's from California. He was born January 15th, 1953, and he was executed by gas chamber on April 21st, 1992. He was the first death in California,
Oh, okay.
which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's like when they say first death, I'm assuming when they charge them, because he got charged for the murder in like the 70s.
Oh, okay.
So that made
So it
more
took
sense
him
to
like 20
me.
years to kill him.
No, to put him on death row. Like
Oh, I see. So he didn't get put on death row in the 70s.
some people be on death row for years.
I know. I just wondered. I didn't know how long. Like 20 years seems like still a long time for death.
It
I'm
is.
saying I'd say maybe 5 max is like a good sweet point, but I don't know. Maybe you'll teach me something.
So a summed up crime of this guy. He wasn't a great guy.
Usually people who die are via the death penalty are not.
But he got charged. He was a car thief, a burglar, kidnapper, and murderer.
It's like car thief and burglar does not equal death penalty really, but then you got to kidnapping and murder, and that made more sense.
You're like, oh, I see. It was so him and his brother. They, if I remember correctly, they robbed a bank, and then after that, they stole this car that was occupied by these two 16-year-old boys, and they ended up killing these 16-year-old boys, even though they were like, "Oh, we're not going to hurt you." They did.
So they always say.
Yeah, and the part that stuck with me on that one was one of the cops that showed up to, because they ended up getting caught, like just I remember them being stupid, like they did something. Yeah, they were arrested like less than an hour later after the robbery, And I flip-flopped it.
So they killed the people, then robbed the bank.
Yes. Yeah. The boys were sitting in a green Ford LTD, and the boys were celebrating because one of the victims had just gotten his license, and they like came up to them with some guns and were like, "Hey, drive us to this place." They had them go to this lake, and they ordered the boys to kneel down, and they said, and I quote, "Quit crying and die like men," and then shot them.
They were kids.
I know. The Robert took the car, and they went back and tried to rob the bank in Mira Mesa, and they only ended up getting $2,000. Great for them, right?
Yeah.
And apparently a witness to the robbery followed them back to their house and called the police, and they were arrested less than an hour after the robbery. And one of the officers that went to the house was one of the victims' dads. And that's how he found out that his son died.
Oh.
And I was like, that's so sad. Out of all the police to have had to go, it was
His dad was a police officer.
Yeah. And I was like, if you are curious, and just since I'm saying the guy's name but not the victims, their names were John Majewski and Michael Baker. Those were the boys. But yeah, this is why I was saying, like, when I texted you about deep diving, because some were like so big, and I was like, oh my god.
There's little mini true crimes in each one.
Exactly.
You could do a whole series on these.
You definitely could. So,
yes.
On April 21st, 1992, at 3:49 a.m., he was executed in the chamber at San Quentin State Prison, and he was the first execution in California in 25 years. For his last meal, he requested and was given a 20-piece bucket of KFC, 2 large Domino pizzas, a bag of jelly beans, a 6-pack of Pepsi, and a pack of cigarettes. And yeah.
Okay, so from the last meals that I've heard, I feel like KFC is a really big one.
It's probably the cheapest chicken they can get.
Yeah, but do you think that they're asking specifically for KFC chicken, or you think they're asking for fried chicken and the people are like, let's just go get KFC because fuck this guy? You know what I mean? Like,
Probably.
I just don't know if people are like just asking straight up for, can I have 20 KFC pieces? Or I don't know. Because like if you ask for, I think that I've seen some people ask for like home cooked potato, I don't know, something like home cooked foods, and I think they just have to have their chefs do it.
I would honestly I guess homemade fried chicken would be better than KFC.
Obviously, but it would be cheaper probably to just buy from KFC and faster. And you don't have to pay someone to make it.
Okay. So this next guy, we're already getting to the big one. This is the Texas guy. This guy is the reason why they don't do special requests anymore in Texas for death final meals.
So in Texas, they don't do any final meals, or like you have to have something like off of a menu.
You would get what they have in the cafeteria, but no special. You can't have any special requests anymore.
Okay, what does this guy do? How do you ruin it for everyone?
Okay. All right. So Lawrence Russell Brewer is his name. He was born March 13th, 1967, and he was executed September 21st, 2011. Right off the bat, he was a white supremacist.
Oh, fuck this guy. They shouldn't have given him anything anyway then.
Yeah.
You know what? I think about it. Why are we giving special requests to criminals at all? They're criminals.
Right.
And this guy was like an uber bad person.
So he's been to prison before his big put away, I would say. He had drug possession, burglary on his record, paroled in 91, violated parole in 94, returned to prison, and then he had joined a white supremacist gang to safeguard himself with other inmates, apparently. His big crime that put him away was he was a part of a murder of a man named James Berg Jr., who died June 7th, 1998. And they literally just murdered him because he was a person of color. But they had It was Sean Barry, Lawrence Brewer, and John King, and they dragged this poor man for 3 miles behind a Ford pickup truck along an asphalt road, and he remained conscious for most of it, but he did die halfway through because they turned a corner and his body hit an edge of like a corner, and it ended up decapitating him. And they still drove with the body for another mile and a half before
Oh my God.
and then they just dumped his body in front of a quote unquote black church.
Oh my gosh. That's disgusting.
I know. I was like, how would they even give this man any special, especially this big of a request?
Yeah.
And even it just made it so gross because even with that, the fucking guy had no remorse and he was like, I'd do it again. And I was like, that's disgusting.
I guess that's a white supremacist for you. I wouldn't expect him to have any remorse with knowing his belief system.
It's so gross that people think that way to me.
I'm honestly surprised that people think that way at all. Like, it's crazy.
But this man's last meal, okay, this is the reason why nobody in Texas can have any special requests anymore. Brewer ordered 2 chicken fried steaks with gravy and sliced onions, a triple patty bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelet with ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, and jalapenos, a bowl of fried okra with ketchup, 1 pound of barbecued meat with half a loaf of white bread, 3 fully loaded fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, 1 pint of Bluebell vanilla ice cream, a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts on top, and 3 root beers. That's all.
All?
Yeah.
Was this man large? Was he large and in charge? Like, why the fuck is he eating so much for his last meal? Did he want to try to kill himself before he got to the gas chamber? I'm confused.
And when the meal was presented, he told officials that he was not hungry, and as a result, he did not eat any of it.
He's dead now?
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Fantastic. Love that for us.
So after that,
Gosh.
yeah, the state senator officially ended the 87-year-old tradition of giving last meals to condemned inmates.
I think that easily a budget would have been fine for that. Like adding a budget to the final request but you know what? You know what? It's fine. They're usually bad people. Unless for some reason they're wrongly convicted, they're usually bad people. And you know what? They don't need a special request. If they wanted a special request, they could have just not committed a crime and gotten themselves in that predicament. So I think that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so fuck that guy. Sorry.
No, for real, fuck that guy.
It's actually refreshing because if you look up his name, the only thing that comes up is obviously his record from the Texas prison, and the only reason his name even comes up on Wikipedia is it's under the article "Murder of James Byrd Jr." As like one of the killers, but he doesn't have his own. He doesn't have his own wiki page.
Thank fuck again. Did the other guys get the death penalty too? Or
yes.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yes,
Perfect.
I think it was only 2 other guys, but they just died at different times. Brewer died in 2011. The other guy died in like 2019, which is
so fucking long.
All right, Oklahoma. We have Wanda Jean Allen.
Oh, a girl. Okay.
I have 2 ladies.
I live very close to Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, you do. She was born August 17th, 1959, and died January 11th, 2001.
Bye-bye.
She was sentenced to death for the murder of Gloria Jean Leathers, who was her longtime girlfriend.
It's always the lover. Ain't it always the lover?
She was the first Black woman to be executed in the United States since 1954, and she was the 6th woman to be executed since executions resumed in the United States of America in 1977. And her last meal was a bag of chips.
Kind of chips.
Didn't say.
Didn't like a big bag or like a fun size pack?
I'm thinking a small pack.
Well,
I could see if there's more. Like,
that's interesting. Is there a reason she killed her girlfriend?
if
Like,
I remember, it's because she broke up with her.
oh, okay. I get it. Sometimes the
Okay.
Delulu just can't help you when you're crazy.
Oh no, they just got into an argument. Childhood friend turned girlfriend.
And then they argued one time and she murdered her.
Yes.
She barely deserved a bag of chips then. Really. How do you murder your childhood best friend turned a lover over an argument? Other than the fact, like, maybe I know that some people get crazy when like people cheat on them.
Okay. Says so. Deidre Pettis. That was the one in 1981. They were sharing an apartment. Childhood friend turned girlfriend got into an argument, shot and killed her. She ended up only receiving a 4-year sentence, and she served 2 of them, and then she got out. So 7 years after the death of Pettis, Allen was living with her girlfriend Gloria Jean Leathers. They met in prison. They had a turbulent and violent relationship, and she shot her in front of the village police department. 15 minutes before the shooting, they were involved in a dispute at a grocery store. So same. So she did it
So
twice.
she's like a black widow, someone who kills their lovers. She's just not very good at it.
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
so
what a
sad.
black widow is?
Yeah, they kill their lovers.
Yeah. Here's the
Yep.
thing. I would have a hard time dating someone who I knew went to prison for killing their lover already. Like,
I know.
and also you can have a murder of like your significant other on your record and still get a girlfriend. That means there's hope out there for everyone. There you go. That's the silver
Yeah.
lining. Even with a murder on your record. I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of like women who love like men in prison who like have done bad things.
Yeah.
That's really gross, but that just means that there's hope for you if you're single. You're probably not one of these terrible people. You probably have a shoe up on the murderer. Is that a silver lining? You have a shoe up on a murderer. You don't have a criminal record, so maybe if someone had to choose between you and a murderer, they choose you. Right? I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. In most cases, I do support women's wrongs as well as their rights, but she killed another woman twice. It's hard. If it was a man, I'd be like, yes, girl, get your chips. But like, it was another girl.
At least be Eileen Warnos. Come on.
That being said, eat your chips, girl. Whatever.
Eat your chips. I know. I hope they were like actually good chips.
Yeah, like, I hope they weren't like off brand. Honestly, here's the thing. She's a bad person. So maybe
Deserve
I
bread.
do hope that they were like dollar store chips. Like the smallest bag that you could get is dollar store. That's like the most off brand, so that they tasted funky and they were expired. That's what I
And they
hope for
were
her. I hope she choked on them before she went to the gas chamber or the chair or whatever she died by.
I think it was lethal injection. Yeah.
Ooh. I hope that they
Lethal.
crushed up chips and put it in her lethal injection.
Salt and vinegar.
So it just blocked her veins with chips.
Jeez. Okay.
Am I a
This.
bad person? I just don't like bad people. It's hard for me.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Who's the next person?
All right. This person I hate, and you're gonna hate. So.
Add him to the list in today's episode.
All right. So next we got another Robert from Ohio. His name is Robert Anthony Buell. What?
I said, what's his last name?
Oh, it's Robert Anthony Buell.
Okay.
It's Buell. I don't know if I spelled it right, or said it right. But.
Okay.
He was born September 10th, 1940, and he died September 25th, 2002. He was convicted of the July 17th, 1982 murder of 11-year-old Krista Lee Harrison. He, yes, is as gross as it sounds. He was only convicted of the one, but it is thought that he's a serial killer, rapist, murderer. But
Gross.
yeah, I know. But he literally 8 years after he died in 2010, they matched a DNA sample from him to an unidentified DNA sample on a cold case of a murder of another girl, but her name was Tina Marie Harmon. Tina Marie Harmon. And she
So
was 12.
they correlated her death with him as well.
Yes, after he died.
So her case is closed.
Yes. And those are the only two victims that they like for sure matched him to, but there's some like that match that like MO or whatever, and so they're like could be this guy as well, but nothing confirmed yet other than those two. Oh, so sad. It's so gross.
Gross, yeah. He got a last meal?
He did,
Ew.
but it was a single pitted black olive. That's it.
Hope
Just
it
one
was
olive.
rotten? I don't know. What am I supposed to hope for that one? Hope it had salmonella? I don't know. Like
There's like I hope there was a bug in it.
yeah, I hope there was a pit in your unpitted stupid olive, bitch. Fuck. Okay. Great.
Yeah, I
Why
was
did
like,
this make me mad that they get even like a last wish? You know what I mean? It makes me mad that they are getting anything. I know he asked for one single pitted olive. Like it's making me mad that they get anything. When they're
yeah,
truly convicted and they're truly the bad guy, that makes me mad.
it's because we're for the victims.
No.
They don't deserve anything because did the victims get a last meal? No. Did they get anything? No.
No, they just got some dude named Robert killing them
No.
and maybe more.
Yeah. Um.
Did he die by lethal injection, gas chamber, electric chair? Which one?
Lethal injection.
I also feel like lethal injection's like too nice.
It's very quick.
Yeah, but I think that gas chamber and electric chair is much more. It's inhumane, but they're inhumane. You know what I mean? Like it's much more fitting the punishment.
Yeah.
I understand the punishment is that they already have to die, but they get a last meal, they get a little bit of special treatment. That one guy got to eat lunch with the warden. Don't know, like
How dare you?
they should at least have some sort of bad part about this part other than the fact that they're dying. Because that one guy, he was like, I'd do it again. It's a good thing we're killing you then. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a good thing you can't get the back out there anymore. But I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Who's next on our list? Whose next meal can I shit on? Literally. I'm gonna shit on their plate and be like, it's fried chicken. And they're gonna be like, this doesn't taste like fried chicken, it tastes like shit. And you're like, just kidding, it's shit.
Okay. We have.
You're like, Catherine, these are
No,
some really hot takes.
no, you're fine. I
You know,
love it.
some people think the death penalty's bad all around.
Oh, I know. That's
And that
inhumane.
and I understand that part of the argument, but and I understand that there are people that get the death penalty that aren't supposed to get the death penalty because they actually didn't do anything. Like they're wrongfully convicted. And I know people are on death row for a long time and sometimes they get exonerated, but it's still heinous crimes deserve a heinous punishment, is what I
Yeah.
can stand. I can stand by that. And if you know for sure that this person has a heinous crime that they've done, I don't feel bad about the death penalty. So the last guy, he did very terrible things to probably a lot of little girls. Like that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah.
The woman, okay, she did kill two people, but there's a life in that's a life in prison to me. Like that's a I don't know, you know what I mean? I just feel the
Yeah.
death
There's
penalty
sure.
needs better criteria of when to assign it to a person, which probably there is better like now compared to early 2000s or 90s or 80s, but
Sure. All right. Next on our list is our final lady of the hour.
okay. Final lady.
Her name is Judias Anna Lou, or Judy. Yep, she has a long name. She was born Judias Welty. She's also known as Judias Goodyear and Judias Morris.
Goodyear.
Yeah, yeah. So Goodyear is literally bueno año.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it,
Just the English translation of her name.
but they use it like it's like they almost use it like it's two separate names, and I'm like, it's literally the same
Yeah.
thing. Anyway, she's smiling in her photo. All right. So she was born April 4th, 1943. She was executed by electric chair March 30th, 1998.
Okay. What'd she do?
She was an American female serial killer. She was executed for the 1971 murder of her husband, James Goodyear. She was also convicted for the 1980 murder of her son, Michael Bueno Año, and the 1983 attempted murder of her boyfriend, John Gentry. And then later, she was charged with the 1978 death of another boyfriend. So before all this, named Bobby Joe Morris in Colorado, but she was already on death row in Florida for her son and husband murders. But yeah, basically what she was doing is she was poisoning them, and it was just for life insurance money. So
Eesh.
I was like, your own son?
Yeah, I feel like we see the husbands and boyfriends a lot, but I don't feel like we see the kids like that. You know what I
I
mean?
know. Yeah. I was like, why
Uh,
would you do that?
yeah. Was her son young, like really young, or was he like a teenager when he died?
I think I want to say I think I looked it up and he was like 19.
Oh, he was a grown up. Oh, barely.
Yeah. So sad.
That is sad. What was her last
Uh,
meal?
Her last meal, it was steamed broccoli, asparagus, strawberries, tomato wedges with lemon, and hot tea.
Fruits and vegetables?
Yeah,
Okay. Was she vegetarian? Like, it
maybe.
like, seems like she was maybe like vegan or something.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. She looks like Granny Gertrude. What's her name?
The giggling granny.
Giggling Granny. Yeah, she looks like her.
Funny is that's exactly what she did too.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know how to shit on fruits and vegetables other than that's just so boring.
So I hope there's a bug in your strawberry.
Yeah, I hope that they sprayed it with pesticides and like it. The problem with the last meal is they don't eat it long enough to know of any side effects of any poisons or like bugs or germs or whatever. So if like the chicken has salmonella, they're gonna die before the salmonella hurts them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I hope there was a bug in your food, and I hope your asparagus made your pee stink, because apparently it does that.
Yeah, apparently. We got two more.
Two more. Who's next?
All right. I'm not gonna go into details because y'all know who the fuck this person is.
Oh no. Who is it? Which one?
Good old, good old teddy bear.
Ted Bundy. Okay.
Right, Mr. Bundy here.
Speaking of someone who had lovers in prison, you know what I
For
mean? Like
real, for
girls
real.
throwing at him.
He's so charming. Oh my god. Yeah,
He's also not that attractive.
he's
I'm
not.
not I'm not gonna sit here and gaslight you guys into thinking that Ted Bundy was attractive and charming. Maybe he was charming in like a dorky kind of way or something. Like I have no idea. He's not attractive at all. And all these girls were fawning all over the man, and he is at least a medium ugly man, if not a regular ugly man.
Have you
Like,
seen them eyebrows?
yeah. Every time I see a picture of him, I'm like, I just don't know why people were like, he's so hot. So the movie though, or like the show or whatever, the one where Zac Efron played Ted Bundy, if he looked like Zac Efron, I would understand that. Where girls were like, "Oh my gosh, he's so hot!" Like he looks like Zac Efron. Of course he's hot, but he doesn't look like Zac Efron. Zac Efron does not look like Ted Bundy. If you put them next to each other, maybe in the costume and the makeup and whatever he does, but in real life, now he totally doesn't after his surgeries. But like back then, Troy Bolton did not look like freaking Ted
Troy
Bundy.
Bolton would
They
never.
did have the same Troy Bolton, Ted Bundy had the same initials though.
Oh, they do. No, I just noticed that.
What if High School Musical, Troy Bolton was a serial killer this whole time?
Oh my god, we should make that a movie right now. Write it down. Write it down right now. High School Musical. High School Musical turned horror movie.
We're not in this together. Once we're stabbed, then we die.
Oh my god, Bet on It has such a weird thing now. You can bet on
Bet
it.
on me.
Jesus.
Oh, okay. But if
The
we change
boys are back. The boys are back.
if we change High School Musical into a horror movie, Chad and Ryan are going to be together.
Okay.
Because you cannot deny to me that they did not love each other in the third movie.
The fucking I don't dance.
Yeah. You don't dance, you do dance with each other, and you guys want to fuck. I know that you're with Monique or whatever, and Ryan is definitely gay, but I feel like Chad totally wanted to fuck Ryan, especially in the last movie.
Slide into home base, baby.
Anyway, we've gotten so far off topic.
Okay. All right. What's not funny is Ted Bundy. I know. All right. So if you don't know what Ted Bundy did, sorry. Yeah.
Watch a documentary.
There's tons of them.
Literally anything.
He's like
he
one of
killed
the
women.
top. Yeah,
Yeah.
he killed women. Yeah, he basically just killed women.
At least killed women.
At least. But he was born November 24th. Hate how close he is to us.
But
1946.
he's not a Scorpio, right?
He's a Sag.
Mm.
He's a Sagittarius.
We're just like, no one cares.
We don't accept him as a Scorpio. He was born November 24th, 1946, and he died by electrocution on January 24th, 1989.
That's right.
He actually declined his meal, and he was given what they had in the cafeteria that day, but he was given steak, eggs, hash browns, toast, milk, coffee, juice, butter, and jelly.
I can't think of a worse meal than a steak from a cafeteria, to be honest. So that seems fine to me, honestly.
Oh, perfect. Hopefully they spit on it.
I hope that it was fucking very well done. Like, very well, too well done. If well done is how you like it, I wish it was bloody. I don't know, whichever way you don't like it.
The opposite.
Yes.
But I was like, that's a lot of liquids. Milk, coffee, and juice.
Yeah. Was that just like the options, or he got all three of those?
Got all three.
They're probably like small.
Yeah, like little cartons.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Kathryn.
Sorry. What's our last one?
Our last one. So, all the way from
North Carolina.
Which, fun fact, that's where I'm from. We have Desmond Keith Carter. He was born October 15th, 1967, and died December 10th, 2002 by lethal injection.
That's almost close to Christmas.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He murdered a woman named Helen Purdy.
What happened?
Okay, he basically had a hard life. His mother left him at 3. He lived with his grandmother. They moved to North Carolina. He started using drugs as a teenager. And on March 9th, 1992, under the influence of alcohol, crack cocaine, and tranquilizers, killed his 71-year-old neighbor Helen Purdy by stabbing her 13 times with a butcher knife and robbed her of $15 in order to buy cocaine.
Oh my gosh.
And not long before that, his grandmother was trying to get substance abuse and mental health treatment for him, but the hospital refused because he did not have medical insurance coverage. And then so he was sentenced to death for first-degree murder and 40 years imprisonment for robbery with a dangerous weapon.
Okay. I do feel like life in prison would have been better.
Yeah.
Sentence. Especially since the system already failed him in providing him any kind of medical assistance.
Yeah.
I do understand he chose the path of like drugs and kind of stuff, but once you're on it, especially if you start in your formative years, it's really hard to get off it without assistance. And his family apparently was trying. Like, I don't know.
I know, at least his family, his grandma especially, was trying and not just
letting him whatever he wanted. Basically, she was murdered over $15.
Yep.
Which, if you had just asked her, she probably would have given you. If you robbed her, she probably would have just given it to you.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Like you didn't really have to murder her, is what I'm trying to get to. What was his last meal?
All right. So he declined his last meal, right? But he bought 2 cheeseburgers, a steak sub, and 2 Cokes from the prison canteen, and he paid $4.20.
That is very cheap.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Okay. Thank you for bringing that to us with
Okay.
all of the last meals. I really had fun to basically shit on people's meals. The last guy really knew how to do it. He picked his own. He just was like, I don't need you guys. I'll do it myself. All right. Before we wrap it up, do you have anything to tell the spooky babes before we go?
Good day. Let us know in the comments what your last meal would be if you had to pick one.
Yeah. Let us know on Instagram what your last meal would be if you had to pick one. Or if you got to pick one. Was that everything? Sorry.
And yeah, that's it.
Thanks for joining us. We're glad to be back. If you are listening to this on an audio platform, if you could give us 5 stars, we would totally appreciate it. And give us a little review or note. We'd love to read it. And again, we appreciate you for coming and hanging out with us today. And the world is a better place with you in it. And we will see you.
In your nightmares. Ooh.
I'm hungry.
I am hungry too.